Welcome. I hope that you're okay and I'm okay too. This is session 6, Emotions and Being Free. Now some of you will have seen the movie Gorillas in the Mist. These are gorillas from Rwanda and people ask me, have I seen the gorillas? Well, no I haven't, but I'm thankful to international photographer Deidre Sorensen. She did go to see the gorillas and she gave me these photographs to use in the work. Those gorillas live in this mountain and it's often mist covered. I've not been up the mountain, but I go to the mountain because down at ground level lives an amazing woman whose story is told in the book, and I will introduce you to Mama Deborah in a while. We begin with our good group process. We read our agreements to feel safe and to feel free. And then we talk this time about the value that we are finding in speaking confidentially with our support person or our mentor. How's that working out? How is that helping and assisting you? Then we have the group sharing. How am I today? What impacted me from the readings? What are the questions that I bring to this session? You know, when we communicate, we've all had experiences of being hurt and violated by the words and the attitudes of others. And that's not surprising because, you see, we communicate with our feelings. We show our feelings in our tone, in our words, in our body language. Now, if we understand this, it can actually help us to communicate very well. So, we must keep this picture in mind. The desirability of being in position 1. I'm okay, you're okay. The blame-free position. The position of problem solving. You see, position 1 is the only position that does not involve violence. So, when anger arises in me, I need to take enough time to find what is the feeling that is below the anger. And in the prologue of the book, I tell my story of walking around a garden for an hour, trying to understand what lay underneath the anger that I was feeling on that particular day. So, the question for group discussion is this. When anger arises in me or in the other party, what can I say or do that will help slow the interaction or cool down the intensity? Then, we always want to think about, well, how do I get to position 1? By speaking truthfully, being honest, and having an attitude of forgiveness, which raises the question, what is forgiveness? So, to think about this, in pairs you're going to discuss the quote, and then you're going to look at 2 questions. Here is Mama Deborah. This is the lady I would go to Musanze, the foot of the mountain, to visit, to speak with, and to hear her stories. And this is one of her quotes. Human nature does not readily forgive. So in your pair you talk about that, and then you also discuss what is my experience of giving and receiving forgiveness, and then also what is difficult, what is challenging about forgiveness. Talk about that in your pairs, and then come back as a group and give your feedback. What are the challenges of forgiveness? And as a group, make a list of those challenges. Then the next step, as a group, make a list of what forgiveness is not. Now this is really important to know what forgiveness is not, because people like perpetrators or offenders will put pressure on us to be superficial in our forgiveness, or impatient people or people who think they know better will say, oh, you know, just get over it. Just move past it. It helps us to know, no, that's not what forgiveness is about. Forgiveness is not about forgetting. Forgiveness is about facing and dealing with the issue or the hurt. The stories from genocide to generosity show two things. They show that forgiveness takes time and that forgiveness is difficult but possible. So, there's a task. Read two passages, chat about the first one. How was this true for Mama Deborah? Difficult, taking time, needing to work through, and then also consider the struggle of the young woman. Then, as a group, discuss this. Where do I identify with the struggle to forgive in Mama Deborah and the young woman? Where are the bits of their story that I can relate to in terms of the difficulty, the challenge of giving forgiveness? When you get to the time of feedback, share what has helped me today. And then, what is it that I don't yet understand about forgiveness? Now, don't worry, this is our first session on forgiveness and we have another two. This one has its particular focus on emotions and how they come across and how they can impact forgiveness. That will lead us to the date and the time for the next session. You'll have a few pages to read, you'll have some notes to make or a drawing or a poem. That will then bring us to two video links that you can watch. Now, these involve Alice and Emmanuel. They are the names they are called on the videos. However, in the book I use their Rwandan names, Mukarurinda Ndayisaba. And because the first of these videos is not an easy video to watch, I encourage you, if you can, have at least one other person with you watching it so that you can talk about it with them afterwards. So, this way we take another step towards peace.